Holy cow, it's huge. That's it. And it's 40 feet long by 6.5 foot diameter. I think it's a monster. From a rusted wreck to an unbelievable gold-filled jackpot, Parker Schnabel's latest find is something straight out of prospector's dream. Deep in the wilderness, hidden away from prying eyes, he stumbled upon an old, forgotten TRL, a massive mining machine left to rot for decades. But this wasn't just any abandoned piece of equipment. Inside, buried beneath layers of grime and rust, was a fortune in gold, over $400 million worth. How had no one noticed? Why was it left behind? The TRL was a beast of machine built in an era when mining was all about brute force, power, and speed over precision. Designed to process tons of dirt every single day, it spun relentlessly, separating gold from rock. But there was one flaw. The old technology wasn't efficient at catching the finer gold. Over time, countless tiny flecks had slipped through, accumulating inside the machine, hidden for years. Curious, Barker started scraping away the built-up grime peering inside. Then he saw it, a flash of gold, and not just a little. As he kept digging, the discovery only grew more shocking. Locals had whispered about this place for years, sharing old rumors about an abandoned mining operation that had mysteriously shut down. Some said the owners ran out of money. Others believed they faced problems too big to fix. Whatever the reason, the site had remained untouched, a forgotten relic of a past gold rush. And now Parker was standing in front of what could be the jackpot of a lifetime. But reviving the TRO wouldn't be easy. The machine was massive, rusted, and barely holding together. Moving it to a location where it could be repaired was the first challenge. Then came the painstaking work of restoring it. His team had to replace worn-out gears, fix broken screens, and reinforce the steel drum at its core. It was slow, grueling labor, but they pushed forward, knowing potential reward was beyond anything they had ever seen. As they worked, they tested the dirt piled up around the TRL. And that's when things got even crazier. The soil wasn't just good. It was packed with gold, richer than anything Parker had ever come across. This wasn't normal mining dirt. This was something special, something rare. Realizing the sheer value of the site, Parker wasted no time setting up a small processing plant nearby. He combined old-school mining techniques with modern technology, determined not to let a single flake of gold slip away this time. And the results were nothing short of spectacular. Gold poured in day after day, and the numbers skyrocketed. Within no time, the total value climbed into the millions faster than anyone expected. But that wasn't the end. As they kept digging into the TRL's history, Parker's team uncovered something even more shocking. Old records detailing additional connected mining sites. The TRL wasn't just a standalone operation. It was part of a much larger network. And if this one site had been hiding a fortune in gold for decades, what about the others? These old notes were like a treasure map, guiding Parker to even more hidden gold. Restoring the TRL became more than just a job. It turned into a journey through time. Every rusty bolt, every dented panel told a story. This machine had seen it all. The miners who once operated it had risked everything, hoping to strike it rich. Bringing the TRL back to life wasn't just about gold. It was about honoring their hard work and dreams. When the TRL finally roared back to life, it was an incredible sight. The massive drum spun smoothly, sifting through dirt with power and precision. Golden nuggets and fine particles flowed out. Parker's team stood in awe, watching as an old, forgotten machine transformed into a gold-producing powerhouse. By the time Parker and his crew were finished, the results were staggering. They had pulled out an unbelievable amount of gold worth hundreds of millions of dollars. What started as a rusted wreck left to rot had now become one of the most valuable tools in Parker's entire operation. But this discovery didn't just change things for Parker. It got other miners thinking. How many more abandoned machines were still out there hiding fortunes that had never been collected? The thought was enough to send a ripple through the mining world. Even though they had struck gold, Parker's team knew their work was far from over. Keeping that old machine running would be a challenge. It had spent years exposed to the harsh wilderness. And even with the repairs, machines like this required constant maintenance. Still, Parker knew they had built something incredible. "Thanks for getting this done," he said, looking at the restored TRL. "It's a nice setup. There will always be a few quirks to work out, but I like it so far." This whole journey had taught them an important lesson. Sometimes the best treasures aren't found by digging in new places. They're hidden in plain sight, covered in rust and dirt, just waiting for someone to recognize their true value. In gold mining, most people are always chasing the next big claim or the latest cutting-edge equipment. But Parker's story proved something different. The real treasure isn't always in new land or new machines. It's often in what others left behind. That old TRL had once been state-of-the-art, designed to separate gold from dirt with unmatched efficiency. But as mining technology advanced, machines like it were pushed aside, abandoned, and forgotten in the wilderness. That's where Parker came in. While others saw a useless, rusted machine, he saw an opportunity. He knew that old mining equipment sometimes held gold that had never been collected, trapped inside the very machines meant to process it. It all started when he was working in a remote area, a place once teeming with hopeful prospectors chasing their fortune. The land was littered with broken tools, collapsed wooden buildings, and rusted machinery. That's when he found the TRL, hidden beneath layers of dirt and overgrown plants, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Most people would have walked right past it, dismissing it as nothing more than scrap metal. But Parker knew better. He understood that gold could still be stuck inside its parts, lodged in the dirt it had processed decades ago. To him, the TRL wasn't just an old, forgotten machine. It was a gold box waiting to be opened, but getting it out of there was going to be a massive challenge. The TRL was enormous, weighing several tons, and was buried deep in the wilderness, miles away from any road. Moving it wouldn't be as simple as towing out. It would take cranes, heavy trucks, and careful planning. One wrong move, and the machine could break apart for good. But Parker's team was ready. They knew the risks, and they knew that if they could pull this off, the reward could be life-changing. They worked together, planning every step carefully. Slowly but surely, they hauled the TRL out of the rough terrain and transported it back to their workshop. The real work was just beginning. Once they got it there, they saw just how bad the condition was. Rust covered everything, and many crucial parts were either broken or missing. It was clear this wouldn't be a simple repair job. Parker's team had to take it apart piece by piece, stripping away years of neglect. They scrubbed off rust, reinforced weak spots, and replaced anything too damaged to be salvaged. But they weren't just trying to fix the machine. They wanted to make it better. They combined old mining engineering with modern technology, upgrading the TRL to be more powerful and more efficient than ever before. It wasn't just about restoring history. It was about rewriting it. Then came the moment of truth. They turned it on, and the TRL roared to life. The massive drum began to spin, washing dirt and rocks while pulling out gold. It was like waking up a sleeping giant. And it worked better than anyone had expected. Gold started pouring out in large amounts. Some of the richest dirt Parker had ever processed flowed through that machine, proving that their gamble had paid off. That TRL became one of Parker Schnabel's greatest successes. But this wasn't just about finding gold. It was about hard work, vision, and believing in something when no one else did. It was a reminder that sometimes the best opportunities aren't in new discoveries. They're hidden in the past, waiting for someone to recognize their worth. Parker's story changed the way people thought about mining. His team showed that combining old equipment with modern technology wasn't just possible. It was a smarter, more efficient way to mine. By using the latest systems, they minimized environmental damage while maximizing gold recovery. Local communities and other miners took notice. They respected what Parker's team had done, seeing it as a new way forward, a balance between profit and responsibility. That TRL became more than just a machine. It became a symbol of hope, a reminder that the biggest discoveries don't always come from looking ahead. Sometimes they come from looking back. Parker and his team didn't just find gold. They proved that with hard work, creativity, and respect for the land, success is possible. Their story inspired miners everywhere to see old things with fresh eyes, knowing that the next big gold rush might just be waiting in the rusted gears of yesterday.